What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday. My name's Obi and welcome back to Courtside Financial, the channel where we talk about business and technology. Now, listen guys, I need to have a real conversation with you. Not about stock prices, not about upcoming catalysts, not about NIO's deliveries, just a real conversation about what my channel is and what I'm trying to do here and why some of you might feel a way about some of my recent videos, because I've noticed something in the comments. Some of you are frustrated. Some of you feel like I'm spreading fear. Others think I'm too optimistic, and honestly, that tells me that I think that we need to level set. So no charts today, no data, no analysis, just me talking to you, real talk about what Courtside Financial is and what it isn't. So let's get into it. First, let me tell you what this channel is not. This is not a hype channel. I'm not here to pump NIO to the moon and claim that it's going to $100 with rocket emojis. I'm not here to sell you on a fantasy where we all get rich with no bumps in the road. But it's also not a bear channel. I'm not here to trash NIO, root for their failure, or cherry pick data to make them look bad. I'm not here to scare you out of your positions or convince you that investing in NIO stock is dumb. That would be hypocritical. Here's the reality on YouTube though. Most NIO content falls into two camps. Camp one is all about pure hopium. These channels have titles like why NIO stock is about to explode in all caps, or why NIO will hit $200, or the shorts are done. Every single data point in these videos is spun positive. Every challenge is downplayed. Every delay is just part of the process. And look, I get the appeal. Hats off to those people. Do whatever they want to do. When you're holding a stock through red days, sometimes you just want some reassurance, I guess, and for someone to tell you that everything's going to be okay. But that's not analysis. We veer away from analysis at that point, and it gets into emotional support. And there's a place for that. But that's not what I'm building here. Camp 2 is the Permabears with an agenda. These are the people who have decided in their minds that NIO stock is trash 2 years ago, and every single piece of content they put out is to prove themselves right. They seem to focus on the negatives, ignore the wins, and they seem almost gleeful when bad things drop, when bad news is announced. They're not trying to help you make informed decisions. They're trying to validate their own bearish thesis. So what is Courtside Financial at the end of the day? I'm trying to do something harder than both of those things. I'm trying to be bullish while being honest about risk. Let me break that down because this is important. I am long on NIO. I own the stock. I believe in the company's long-term vision. I think that the pure electric strategy is absolutely right, and it's going to be a winner long-term. I think that the battery swap infrastructure is genuinely a moat created around the business. I've discussed this in several videos on my channel for years and years and years, yet some people still say I'm a bear in disguise. What's the point of that, guys? I make in my personal life. I don't need to get on the internet and spend time convincing, what do I get, like 1,000 views per video, 1,000 people that NIO stock, that doesn't serve me. I think that Lee Bin is a visionary who learned hard lessons in the public eye, especially with NIO, and over time he's evolving as a leader. At the end of the day, simply put, I'm bullish on NIO. No one can take that away from me. When I look inside my brokerage account, I know what I'm holding. I know what I'm invested in. I have ADRs in my brokerage account. I even have a little bit of NIO in my IRA, I believe. Not too much in the IRA, but yeah, I'm invested in the company. And if I have NIO in the IRA, that means I plan on keeping those shares there until retirement. And that's like, and just to give you guys context, I'm only 28, so that's at least 30 years from now. But being bullish doesn't mean that I'm blind. When the CEO, William Lee, says NIO has 70 days to hit their profitability target, or his words exactly, the company's long-term viability is at risk, I'm not going to get on the internet and sugarcoat that. When the cash runway is 16 months at the current burn rate, I'm not going to ignore that. Yeah, some of you guys will say NIO won't run out of cash. Obviously, they won't run out of cash. They're going to just raise more money. More money. And what does that do to our shares? It dilutes our shares, and that's expected in a growth company. But in my last video, I was specifically speaking through the lens of the market and what the market wants to see. The market wants to see profitability. The market is looking at it like NIO can run out of cash, whether that's the case or not. Sometimes optics are very important, especially when it comes to the stock market. The stock market can be pretty irrational. We all know that. We can name I'm not going to name any right now, but we can name a ton of companies that are trading at very, very, very high multiples and really trading off of future projections. The market is pricing NIO the way it's pricing it because they're just seeing a company that's continually burning cash. Now, burning cash is all semantics, right? Burning cash and investing in your products and spending money on R&D and getting patents and all these different things. We know that's where the cash is going, and we know that NIO is really just putting that money back into the business. But at the end of the day, for the stock to really perform, I personally think, and I may be wrong, that the market wants to see that NIO is a profitable business and they can continue to scale and grow profitability. So I'm not going to pretend that that's not a real concern. And when a major investor files a lawsuit against NIO, I've got to discuss it. I'm not going to brush it under the rug. I gave you guys my opinion on it. I thought it was baseless. But that's clearly affecting the stock price. So what does the market think? You guys can have all the opinions that you want, but what does the market think and what is reality? That is what I'm here to discuss on this channel with objectivity, because I think you guys as an audience, you deserve that. But here's what I think. I think there's a happy middle ground. I think that you could be optimistic about NIO's future and you can get on here and honestly discuss the challenges that they face. And there are some YouTubers who do a good job of that. So shout out to you guys. I don't think that doing those two things at the same time is contradictory. In fact, I'd argue that being a real NIO bull means understanding the risk. Because if you can't articulate what could go wrong, then you don't fully understand what you're invested in. You're just hoping. Now, here's the fascinating part to watch though. This approach makes both sides mad. When I make a video titled 70 Days Left, What's Really at Stake for NIO, the hopium crowd thinks I'm spreading FUD. They think I'm being negative. They think that I don't believe in the company. They think that I'm helping the shorts, that I should be positive all the time, 24/7. But when I say I'm bullish on NIO, I think that they could pull this off. I think the infrastructure is valuable. The shorts think I'm delusional. They think I'm too optimistic, that I'm ignoring reality, that I'm just another bag holder making excuses for a broken company. And you know what? When both sides are mad at you, you're probably doing objective analysis, which is what I set out to do every single day. Because the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. NIO isn't guaranteed to fail, and they're also not guaranteed to succeed. They're a company in a make it or break it moment, fighting hard to turn a decade plus of investment into sustainable profits with real strengths, but also real challenges. That's the story. Not NIO to the moon, not NIO is doomed, just the actual situation that exists. So let me tell you what I feel my responsibility is to this community. My job is not to make you feel good. My job is to report on information that I personally feel like I need to have to make informed decisions, and share that information with other people so that they can just have another perspective when making their own decisions on their own. If that information is positive, great. If it's concerning, you need to know that too, because your money is on the line. Your financial future might be in some way, shape, or form tied to these investments, and you deserve someone who's going to be straight with you. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not your financial advisor. I can't tell you what to do with your money, but I can give you my honest read on what's happening, what it means, and what the stakes are. Sometimes that's going to make you feel uncomfortable, and when I say 16 billion in losses out loud, of course, that's going to hit harder than just reading it on a quarterly report. You guys would be surprised how many people just watch YouTube all day never read the earnings reports, never read the quarterly reports, never read financial statements, have never read a financial statements. And oftentimes in the comments, those people are the loudest. When I say 16 months cash runway, that creates an urgency that you might not want to feel in the moment. When I emphasize that Q4 profitability is do or die according to the CEO, William Lee himself, that might stress you out, but discomfort doesn't mean dishonesty. Sometimes the truth is uncomfortable. Here's what I need from you if you're going to be a part of this community. Understand that I'm on your side. I'm long NIO. I want them to succeed. When I'm pointing out risk, it's not because I'm rooting for their failure. It's because understanding risk is an important part of intelligent investing. Separate analysis from emotion. When I say NIO has 70 days to hit profitability, that's not me being pessimistic. That's me echoing what Lee Bin said. If you have a problem with that, your issue is not with me, it's with the CEO, and you need to address that with the CEO. And if you have an issue with the CEO, then you have an issue with the company. And I need you guys to accept that bullishness and honesty can coexist. I can believe in NIO's long-term perspectives while also acknowledging that they're at a critical juncture right now. Those two things aren't contradictory positions, and we can all be respectful and we can all agree to disagree. Let's engage each other with substance. If you disagree with what I'm talking about here, let's talk about it. Show me where my data is wrong. Show me where my logic breaks down. But don't just call me a bear because I pointed out a challenge. And don't just call me blind because I said I believe in the company's vision. Look, I get it. A lot of you have been holding NIO through the dark times. You believed when nobody else did. You held through the 2022 crash. You held through the production delays. You held through the competition intensifying. You held through the losses mounting. And now, just when things are starting to look up, record delivery, new models getting traction, profitability within reach, here comes some guy on YouTube talking about cash runway and 70-day clock ticking. I understand why that might sound like I'm raining on the parade, but here's my perspective. The parade is a lot more meaningful when you understand what it took to get here and what it takes to keep it going. NIO's comeback from 1,000 weekly sales to 10,000 weekly sales is, simply put, incredible. The fact that they might hit profitability after a decade plus of losses is historic. The infrastructure that they've built is unmatched in the industry. But none of that means that the job is done, and none of that means that the risk disappeared. And my job, the role I'm playing in this community, is to try and help you see the bigger picture. That's why I don't only talk about NIO on this channel, I talk about different companies in the broader ecosystem, with NIO being a focal point as a NIO bull and investor. But some of the videos I do aren't even about NIO. I talk about the momentum and the challenges, the reasons to be excited and the reasons to stay vigilant. So if you're looking for someone to tell you that NIO is guaranteed to hit $100 per share and that you're guaranteed to get rich, unfortunately, I'm not your guy. There's plenty of channels out there that'll give you that content. And why do you think they give you that content? They give you that content for their own benefit. They feed their pockets with ad revenues and subscriptions and communities all of their own, and provide absolutely no value to you other than emotional comfort, and get you locked inside their web of lies. But if you're looking for someone who's going to give you an honest, objective, rational take, who's also financially and emotionally invested in NIO, someone who's not going to sugarcoat the reality, then you're in the right place. I'm Obi. I'm long NIO. I believe in the company's long-term prospectus, and I think that they have a good chance of hitting profitability in Q4. I'm just waiting to see what happens like everybody else in the world. I think the next few years could be transformational for this company. But I also know that belief without analysis is just hope. And hope's not a strategy in anything that you're doing. So that's what this channel is: reporting, news, analysis from a bull who refuses to be blind. Optimism from someone who understands risk. Enthusiasm from someone who knows the stake. If that works for you, I'm glad you're here. If it doesn't, I can respect that. But this is what Courtside Financial is, and it's not changing. Thanks for listening. Happy Sunday. I'll see you guys in the next one. This has been Obi. Goodbye.